Hello friends, good evening. In previous lesson we learned how we will prepare our lab environment, and now in this session we are going to build Active Directory domain controller in test environment. So before preparing this lab, I want to provide you a little bit overview like what is Active Directory and how it's work. So, there is a basic differences between workgroup and domain environment. In domain environment, basically it's a client and server network where user can log in on any office devices. With help of domain, we can manage all devices and users from a central location. And workgroup, it's a peer-to-peer connection where user can use his her login credential on only on his her system, not other, and you cannot manage it centrally. So see here it's our domain controller, and we have installed Active Directory services. And when we will prepare a domain controller, it will install AD and GPO. So Active Directory will manage your computer and users detail. And here, when you will create a Active Directory, it will also create a OU, organizational unit. In organizational unit, you can manage your department. Like, suppose that you have HR, admin, finance, marketing department, then you can create an individual organization unit for each department, and you after that you can create users under OU, and you can also after joining domain you can also move devices in particular OU. So Active Directory is managing your users and computer entry. So what is the use of GPU? Basically we are using GPU for controlling users and computers. And what is the use of group? Suppose that you have 200, 300 users, and you need to delegate control, or you want to allow them access a particular folder. So instead of adding all the 100, 200 users on a folder and allow them read, write, or modify permission, you simply create a one group and you will add all the users in this group, and you will directly map the particular group on a particular folders, and you can define a permission like what kind of permission you want to delegate on a groups. So uh, now let's start for preparing our domain controller. So see, here is our PC, a server machine, and now before performing a Active Directory roles installation, I'll rename this host. See, when you will install a Windows server, then it will generate a random host name. So we will define a genuine host name. Now click OK. Yeah, close. Before restarting, there is a few more options. Like here you can see we have to also correct time zone. So I have selected IST time zone. Click OK. Now restart And after restarting, we will install Active Directory domain services role. Yeah, so before installing, we will also verify our NIC interface. Yeah, see, we have defined a static IP address on this domain controller. Click, and here we have unselected IPv6 because we in our environment we are not using any IPv6 configuration. Now here it's our server manager wizard, and from here you can add a role and feature, and second place is here. Here you can see add role and feature. Now next see, this is our server name and address. Click next. Now here we will select Active Directory domain services. Yeah, click on add, and here you also have to select a DNS server. Click add. Now next, next. Yeah, click on next. Yeah, friend, now you can see our role installation has been done. And after installing role, here you can see it's showing a yellow sign notification. So when you will click here you can see after role installation, it's asking for promote this server to a domain controller. Yes, we are going to build our first domain controller in live environment. So I have select. Now here you can see there is three options. Like I add a domain controller to an existing domain, add a new domain to an add a new domain to an existing forest, and add a new forest. So first option is suppose that you are preparing a one additional domain controller, then you will select this one. And second one, add a new domain to an existing forest, means if you are going to create a child domain, then you will select this option. So in our case, we are going to prepare a new domain, then I'll select add a new forest. So I'll click here, I'll define our domain name. Yeah, now I have given my first domain name. And in next video, I'll tell you what is the forest, and basically you can see forest is your root domain, means main domain controller, and under forest you can create tree. So tree, like suppose that my domain name is Vivs Vivs-serverworld.dom, and so it's my forest domain name. And when I'll add like in.vivs-serverworld.dom, then that will be a tree site for my forest domain. In my upcoming video, I'll also guide you how you can add a tree domain in existing forest. So here it's asking for uh, directory service restore mode password, means when you will try to restore your directory server, then you have to provide this password. And here it's asking for a forest functional level and domain functional level. So see here there is a multiple option like a Windows Server 2008, 2012, 2012 or to 16. So suppose that if I have selected this forest function level 2016, then we cannot add uh, any domain controller below 2016 in a forest environment. And domain functional level, here if we will select this option, like suppose that here you are selecting 8 and here you are selecting a Windows Server 2016, then in forest functional level, your forest function level will be 2008 and domain function level will be a 2016. So we are going to select a window of our forest function level is Windows Server 2016 and domain function level is also 2016. Now click on next. Now it's a new domain controller and we don't have any DNS delegation option. Click on next. It will generate automatically a net BIOS name and you can also change if you want to change. Here you can see it's generated a default net BIOS name. You can rename, like suppose that you don't want to use this name, then you can use ABC, but I don't want to use ABC. I'll use my by default name. Click next. And it's when you will install Active Directory, then it will create a database and it's a log folder location. Sysbol is basically Sysbol will contain your all the policies and scripts. If you are also trying to deploy a script, wallpaper or etc., it will contain all such kind of stuff. Click next. Now see our Active Directory installation going on and it will take time. So I am going to pause this video and after completion we will start. So you can see all the prerequisite check has been completed. Now I'll click on install button. Now my installation is started. Yeah, see here our installation done. Now we will close and it will reboot this server automatically. Here you can see, yeah, it's rebooted. Now we will wait. Yeah guys, now our server reboot done, so we will connect. And after installing domain, you now we cannot use local administrator ID. So here you can see in earlier during Active Directory setup, we defined our net BIOS name. So I'll use our net BIOS name for a login. So here you can see. Now we have successfully logged in and After installation, our next step would be we will check uh, DNS IP on server NIC. Here you can see it by default picking a 127.0.0.1 means local host. So it's also correct, but our planning is we will deploy a additional domain controller in our next video for provide a redundant mode. Redundant means suppose that if your one domain controller goes down, then secondary domain will authenticate users. So we will click on tools, and here you can see our Active Directory roles. Uh, all roles are installed. Now here you can see DNS. We will click on DNS. Here you can see it's generated a domain controller. In reverse lookup zone, we will create our I, uh, reverse lookup IP details. Here you can see it's 92168.0. Basically, we are creating a reverse lookup zone for resolving IP to name and name to IP. So finish. Here you can see all records updated. Now our next step is here you can see this is our DNS address, and suppose that if you have more than one domain controller, then your other domain controller IP address will also show here. Here you can see. Here you will add your other domain controller IPs, if you want to add a forwarder for forwarding records on a particular IP or domain, then you can add here. Now see, after clicking on NS lookup, here you can see it's resolving my domain name and address. DNS done. Now we will open our Active Directory users and computers. Here you can see it's by default OU of Active Directory, and in previous discussion here I here you can see OU structure. So these are your OU. Now here you can see new organization unit like HR. Under HR you can create users and groups. So we will discuss OU structure, groups and user creation in our next lesson. Okay friends, now our Active Directory installation done, and in our next lesson we will deploy additional domain controller, and after additional domain controller deployment we will discuss about users, security groups and computers, and we will also discuss about group policy. Like here you can see group policy for controlling users and computers. So under group policy here you can see uh, you are viewing a same OU structure, and in group policy actually you cannot apply a group policy on default OU like built-in computers, and these two forge in security principle, managed services, users, you cannot deploy any policy except domain controllers. So here you can see in GPO structure, you are able to view only domain controller OU and HR OU in which we have created in our Active Directory. So in next lesson we will discuss about this. Okay, thanks for watching.